2, 1. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Jason J. Daniel Show. Afternoon edition. It's afternoon, way afternoon. But I thought I'd jump on the old Rumble machine, the old YouTube machine, the X machine, and talk about the latest developments in the nation today, especially concerning ICE and the attack that happened in Dallas. Really crazy stuff. Very disappointing and sad. Another left-wing loon. Let's just get right to it. Okay? Here we go again. Can we have a day without murder from a left-wing radical young man? I don't know what else to say. So we have another psycho, another young guy who decides to get a rifle, become a sniper. Where are these guys getting these ideas? Interesting, right? He's got a trans connection. Here we go again. And he wrote ICE is fascist or anti-fascist. Something we'll get to it. But he wrote some sort of Antifa murder slogan on the bullet casings and kills 2 innocent people and tried to kill ICE agents. There you go. So here we go again. Again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Thanks for watching. This is the Jason J. Daniel Show. I do politics and sports, and I talk about interesting things that go on in the world and things that interest me. And I am a conservative Republican, and one of the things that really interests me right now is the onslaught of violence from the left-wing radicals. And we all should be very concerned about this if you're a conservative. And this is why I'm podcasting every day, until we can have a day where we're not talking about murder or assassination or mayhem. But unfortunately, if you watched Gavin Newsom last night and the Colbert report and the Jimmy Kimmel saga, you saw nothing but the same rhetoric being amped up. This weekend, Jasmine Crockett saying really terrible things about ICE, the federal government, Charlie Kirk, of course, Trump. It's just a broken record with these idiots, and they are clearly working to create as much chaos as they can with their words. So that's why I'm podcasting and talking about this, because I really feel like it's our job as a community of conservatives to get the word out at whatever level platform you have. Whatever voice you have, you need to exercise it and talk about what's going on. And that's one great way to resist the demonic activity. That's the only way to approach it and to label it. It's just demonic activity by the Democrat Party and their sleeper moron killers. There's a lot of moronic killers out there just waiting to be activated by Gavin Newsom and Jasmine Crockett, and Schumer says radical stuff, and AOC, of course. All of them, now she's laid off a little bit, but all of them really just are doubling down on the hatred towards the federal government and the hatred towards Trump. Now, there's a part of politics where everybody just pretends to fight and they go and golf and go and have lunch and drinks, and it's a show for the cameras. I used to think that a part of this was that. I don't think that so much anymore. Obviously, Charlie Kirk being brutally assassinated in 4K on all of our phones changed that perspective for me, and also a lot of people. There are a lot of people just like me that are highly concerned about the violence from the radical left rage monsters. I mean, these are loons that are so infused with hatred and rage that all they need is just a little push. And if they watch Gavin Newsom run his mouth, Jasmine Crockett, all of these other lunatics that are in high Democrat positions, they're going to get that push. And this is what we're seeing. So we'll break down the ICE thing. Also, on last night's podcast, Rumble, you guys are awesome. You've been your numbers have been great. So thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed, I would definitely appreciate that. Please subscribe on Rumble or YouTube or on X. If you're watching on X, I got to check my sound. I'm my own producer here. Hold on real quick. There we go. Cool. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm my own producer, and so I got to check my own stuff. So let's set the table. If you haven't heard the news, And we'll go to a news article. We'll get into it, but a rage loon, another rage loon, left wing ICE hater, or just a rage loon from the left, decided to get on a roof, a la Charlie Kirk, and to shoot into an ICE facility. And this facility had already received a lot of threats in Dallas, so it was already a hotbed of controversy, and they were already concerned. Now, why they didn't have the buildings across the street or whatever covered, I don't know. I'll never understand that, but it is what it is. It seems like we see these lunatics get on buildings and pretend to play sniper. We see these rage loons get rifles and try to execute people. And in Charlie's case, they did. But apparently, we just don't put a deterrent on the roof. I mean, put spikes up there or something. Put those spikes that you put up there for birds, right? You see those on some signs that birds are always like perching on these big signs, these commercial signs, and taking dumps on them, right? So, or ledges or awnings. So you'll see those spikes up there. They need to do that around all these facilities. Or if you're going to go and speak at a college campus, they need to put some spikes up there. But so we have another left-wing rage loon. He's the ICE attacker that you've heard about today. He did this morning off of the heels of the Jimmy Kimmel comments, off of the heels of Gavin Newsom. We'll talk about that. Gavin Newsom and his wife have been doing all sorts of rhetoric. I know, I'm going there with the wife. I haven't looked at her X account today, but a few days ago, she was posting fake, hateful stuff about ICE, saying ICE was kidnapping children and stealing them away in the night. It's just scary stuff for dumb IQ, low IQ people, or people that are concerned about being deported. I mean, that is obviously a frightening thought, but it's being debunked. ICE is not doing that. It's not what they're portraying it to be. It's not some attack on children and they're stealing them. I mean, the whole thing is so preposterous, but they continue to pump this garbage into our phones and into our ears. And if you don't have a brain in your head like a conservative does, you're going to believe this stuff. So you've got very left-wing loons that are, I guess they look like normal people, but they're believing this stuff and they're acting on it. Then you've got these young guys that I don't know how they're getting radicalized by Gavin Newsom and these people, but they clearly are. Antifa's getting a hold of them. They're coaching them how to do this stuff. They're getting, they're putting plans together. They're getting access to bullets and guns, and they're able to figure out what roof. I mean, it's just wild. Like, in fact, there's a picture on X where there's the window where this guy shot into. He shot into the building. Okay. You see, it's a perfect shot through this window. He was clearly trying to kill people, and he did. He shot into a van. He killed some people in the van, which is super terrible. So, what is it? There's his name. His name is Joshua Jahn, or Jane. I'm not sure how you would say it. John. He's dead. He's dead as fuck. They said he killed himself. Who knows? It could be they went up there and just executed him, and they just said, okay, suicide. It seems interesting that these guys are ready to take themselves out as soon as the heat's on and they're about to get caught. I don't know what to say. I mean, Tyler Robinson ran for it, but in this case, this guy, I guess, dispatched himself. So let's go right to some of the news coverage, which I think is interesting. We'll go right to NBC has an interesting article here, or I guess you can call it an article on their page. So I'm not going to play the video, but this picture here is the building that flag that you just saw. The shooter shot that flag. It's there he is, Mr. Loon. Doesn't he look excitingly friendly? There's a friendly picture. Let's find a friendly picture. So they're going to do that. Now, the reason why I'm on this page is it's updated frequently. It's been updated all day as they've been investigating this. This has been a big story everywhere today. But back to that picture, that was an American flag that was encased in glass, and a bullet hit that. So this fucker shot Old Glory. What a piece of garbage. So he shot 3 people, according to this. And I guess they're pulling out some more. I don't know what this rhetoric here is. Oh, that's they're pulling out Trump stuff. So the video is distracting me, but I'm just going to talk about the story. So three were shot, two in critical condition. They said that there were two dead. So I'm not sure. And this is updated just moments ago, half hour ago, my time. So apparently that's been downgraded from two deaths to one. Thank God. They are reporting that the killed person was an illegal that was being detained. Uh, Super unfortunate, super terrible. But also ICE agents and also local law enforcement were in the area. They were not harmed, but apparently these three people were not so lucky. So here's what we know about the shooting, according to NBC News. They're calling them detainees. They're illegal aliens, but they like to, clean up the verbiage and make it sound confusing. What's a detainee? Okay, so three illegal aliens that were in custody. They were in a van, apparently. One died, two are in critical. No officers were hurt. The Dallas police folks had a conference saying the victims have not been publicly identified. There might be a thing about that because they are illegal aliens. Who knows? The shooter was found dead. They're saying he was found dead on the roof with a self-inflicted wound. I tend to think in these situations they just kill these guys and they just say, hey, he killed himself, instead of going up there and arresting him and putting him through the process. And the truth is, a lot of law enforcement do not take kindly to somebody shooting at them. So they're pretty much shoot to kill at that point. So it is what it is. This murderer will now forever be a disgrace to his family, which he should be. C'est la vie, you piece of shit, and he's dead. So clearly, this is the guy that did it. I'm not going to say allegedly because he's dead. It doesn't matter. But we're going to trust the federal government that they're being honest with us. But all of the news, and we have to be critical of everybody, even if it's people we trust in the government or politics. We have to hold them accountable. So you just don't always trust without verifying. But all of the news sources I've seen have essentially verified that this is the guy. There was a bullet found, and the shooter had messages on it. They were anti-ICE. There's a picture that's circulating. I'm sure you've seen it. It says ICE Antifa or anti-ICE, something like that. But it's clear he's a left-wing loon, and he shot multiple rounds from a nearby roof. Doing the sniper thing, he shot into the office, and they're saying that there was no motive. Of course, there was a motive. All right, we know what the motive was. So he did write the words anti-ICE on the bullet, and this is according to the FBI. There was a picture that Kash Patel put out early, circulating to make it clear that this is related to all the violence we're dealing with. And then apparently they interviewed his brother somehow, and the brother said, he didn't have strong feelings about ICE as far as I knew. His brother's name is Noah, Joshua and Noah. DHS officials said he fired at the ICE building indiscriminately. So we'll stop sharing. Oh, they dropped a new update while I was. Okay, I guess we already got that. Okay, so the brother says, I don't know what you're talking about. He was never political. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that? He had no opinions about ICE. Oh, really? Well, this is how I look at it. If you get a gun, you go on a roof, and you write anti-ICE on your bullets, you put the bullets in the gun, and then you aim it at ICE, at federal agents, and you start shooting, and you murder somebody there, and who knows if these other two people are going to make it. You could be looking at 3 murders, but you pulled off one, and you were trying to murder ICE as well. I think all of that, and then you kill yourself because you're a coward, and they find your dead body there and all the evidence, and you're up there, you did it. If you look at all that, I kind of think that means you're a left-wing loon. That means you punched your own ticket to be a part of the Democrat left-wing loon army, because I don't care what his brother says, but that would qualify you as a political opponent of ICE if you try to kill ICE agents with a rifle. That's kind of the thing you do to punch your ultimate ticket. So all that's bullshit. It's all propaganda. NBC still can't be honest about the fact that there are radical forces that have been activated, and it's a plot. It's a plot against conservatives. It's a plot to freak people out so they'll vote for left-wing politicians, because that's what they do. The left-wing politicians always rile up the base of people that are usually going to vote for them. And so they throw them all that red meat by saying nasty, terrible things. But this time they're taking it way too far. They're just saying things about ICE that's not true. And look, I'm not some ideologue. I'm just looking at the truth here. It is what it is. They're deporting people. I'm sorry. We knew this was coming. We knew this was coming for a long time. Bill Clinton did it. Obama didn't. Biden did it. Trump did it in his first term. Reagan did it. These guys deport you if you're illegal. That's the way it works, okay? But this is the first time Trump or anyone's really campaigned on it, and they're really pulling it off. So I'm somebody that says, hey, if ICE is trying to do their job, just don't try to hurt them, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just chilling out and not being so radicalized by what's going on. But what these politicians do is they throw out all sorts of nasty rhetoric so that, oh, by the way, hey, Democrats, crime's still down, okay? This is like the third or fourth murder in the last 11 days, or attempted murder. Crime still down? Question, Democrats. I'd love to hear your answer. So what happens is the left-wing politicians, when they know they can't win elections, okay, they will rile up their base with this rhetoric, and then the nasty stuff. Then they go fear. And the fear riles up low IQ people that are worried about, or people who have some connection to what the fear that they're mongering, right? So then the fear is riled up, the anger is riled up, and then they're hoping that people will be mad and afraid enough to vote for them. But they never fix the problems that they say they're going to fix. They help exacerbate the problems. It's like, honestly, if you're a Democrat, it's almost like being, in my opinion, an abusive relationship with your leaders of your party, because they promise to love you, but then they scare you. Then they yell at you. Then they freak you out. Then they tell you you're not nasty enough. They tell you you don't support them enough. They tell you you're too mean. Then they gaslight you. And then the next day they're very nice to you. Then they mock you, or then they mock their opponents. And then they just do this whole gaslighting, toxic bullshit that they know will generate votes, because that's how it used to work. But the problem is the social media is exposing all of these radical loon politicians, because we can now see in real time the stuff they're doing to radicalize their sleepers that will go out and commit Antifa-type violence and, unfortunately, murder. We have to be honest. The left wing is now the party of violence. They're digging this shit, and they're profiting off of murder. Come on. Has anybody come out today and said we need gun control on the left? Of course not. When it's their guns that need to be controlled, we're not doing it. But if somebody that has if they may have voted for Trump way back in the day, or if they may have had some connection to somebody that's MAGA, or if they may have posted something that's negative towards Pelosi, and then they happen to do some kind of violent act, obviously Trump owns them, right? Conservatives own it. Everybody owns it. If it's a right winger or somebody that's kind of conservative, that is gun control. We all have to take the hit for that. But when the lunatics use their guns to kill law enforcement and innocent illegal aliens, and now civilians, and then Charlie Kirk's a civilian, but activists and politicians. I mean, they don't care about gun control when the guns are working for them. So I'm not saying we don't need gun control. I'm just saying we need liberal control right now. We need left-wing loon control. We need the rage Antifa lunatics on the left to be controlled. Definitely, we need to go out and do whatever it takes as far as legal constitutional means to break these operations up and arrest these people and give them the maximum time, because they are sitting around creating violent content and activities for dumb IQ people to carry out. Of course, the leaders of these movements are not doing the damage. They're not getting their hands dirty. They're using a cat's paw. And if you heard of that phrase, a cat's paw is where you're using someone else to keep your hands clean, but you're the one motivating them, twisting their little toy knob in their back to make that automaton gyrate around and grab a gun. You're making it easy for them, and you're motivating them to commit violence, which you hope will frighten people that are voting for Trump. You're hoping it will, if you're one of these politicians, you're hoping it will frighten people to not vote for Trump, to vote against whoever's going to run in the next election, to vote against Republicans in the midterms, because they can't win on ideas. They can't win on the polls. They can't win with people. They can't win with moderates. They can't win with independents. And they're losing their own party. Congress has overall a terrible approval rating, like 25%, but the Democrats are like at 13%. Nobody likes the Democrats. I feel bad for the Democrats that are normal, because you're a rare commodity. The entire left wing is so left that now you guys are okay with celebrating murder. You're okay with celebrating death. You're okay with making excuses for monsters. And I really would love to have the Democrat Party get back to the old days where they represented the common person. They represented the labor, the unions. They represented people that wanted to just get ahead in life, take care of their families, and be traditional. The Democrat Party is not traditional. It is so out of touch with the average person that now they have talked themselves, the Democrats, into thinking that murder can be excused because it's not our fault. Now, Jimmy Kimmel is like, this, what he said last night was, there's so many unhinged, sick, disturbed people out there. But it's not his side, and he's not going to put it there. It's not the rhetoric. It's everybody else's fault that disagrees with the rhetoric, right? You're not getting the joke. That's what he said last night. You're mad at me because you didn't understand what I said. You didn't think I was funny. That's what comedians do. That's what entertainers do. They put it on you. Well, if you don't like my joke that's twisted, well, it's your fault. You don't have a sense of humor. And that's what he said last night. And then Gavin Newsom, Screwsome, on the Colbert show, which is being canceled, thank God, because it's just propaganda that's just disturbing. He's on there screaming about ICE and screaming about Trump. So let's jump to that clip. Now, what's interesting, if you watched my podcast last night, I was really disturbed about that clip, and I played it, and I said last night, man, I'm concerned, because the rhetoric that Newsom was spewing was just so problematic. I'm like, there's no way there's not going to be somebody totally injured from this. There's no way. It's not going to work. It's not going to be a safe thing for people. And I was right. So I didn't know it would be the next morning. So let's go to this clip of Newsom, and I'll play it for you. Let's see here. Here it is. Okay, cool. I'm going to play it for you. And here we go. Okay, so here's Newsom last night talking about ICE.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? We're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require you have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me,
you'd probably hug him. you'd probably give him some candy and go, hey, man, are you part of our group? Cool. All right, I'm going to pause this bullshit. One, because it's making me really sick. I can only take so much of Gavin Newsom. I'm going to be really honest. He makes my stomach turn. But let's talk about what he is saying here. He is saying things that there is a little bit of grain of truth to some of it if you look at it in his perspective. But if you look at it in the way life works, it's pretty much the way it goes when you get deported. I mean, I don't know what else to tell him. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's like almost 50, and he's acting like he doesn't know what
That's
this
happening
is like.
in the United States of America.
Now let's go through this step by step. Let's look at how, look at his face, look at his pointing. You tell me this is normal, calm rhetoric. There's no calm rhetoric with these people. Him, Jasmine Crockett, all these other loons, that AOC, they're not calm. They're screaming, they're shrill, they're yelling at you, they're bullying you to believe what they're peddling. And the reason why he's shrill is because most people don't believe this shit. But unfortunately, the crazy people do.
The masked men.
The masked men. Okay, great. Remember when he made everybody become masked men? Masked men? No, of course he doesn't.
Jumping out of unmarked cars. People.
That's the way it works. Have you seen detectives, law enforcement? That's what they do all day long. Sheriff, they don't mark their cars. Detectives, you know that detectives never mark their cars for police and law enforcement, sheriff. This is not normal.
People disappearing. No due process.
You're disappearing. Well, you're not disappearing. You're not disappearing. You're being arrested. You're being detained. You're being put into a van. You're being driven to a facility. You're getting a lawyer. Did you know they get medical? They get dental. They get checkups. They get a legal review. Most of the people being deported already have documentation that says you've got to go. There's reasons why these people at this level are being deported. Now, I know some people are getting caught in the crossfire. I know that there's situations where they're going. Look, I'm not going to argue it with you or with anybody. I'm just going to give you some facts. We know that, yes, there's some people that are not violent that are getting caught up in being deported. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I can't fix that. That's on you. If you've been here for 10 years and you've been hiding and you get caught and they deport you, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't know why we have to try to feel sorry for everybody that breaks the rules, and we're forced to pay the taxes. Look, I'm just being honest. I'm a populist. We have to pay the taxes. We have to pay the taxes to the state, to this asshole, and we got to listen to this rhetoric, and then we got to deal with all the lies about COVID. They're trying to do that again. Everything is a big lie when it comes to Gavin Newsom and the state of California. So when it comes to ICE and Karen Bass and everybody in the Democrat power structure in California, they're just taking all of the truth of what's going on and magnifying it and lying and using that little grain of truth. People are not being disappeared. You tell me if people are being disappeared in the night. We know where they're going. Yes, maybe they're going to get put on a plane in 48 hours and shipped back to another country, but those are the violent offenders.
No oversight.
Of course that's a lie. No oversight. Of course that's a lie. And he's looking at Colbert for support on this lie. That is a lie. There's tons of due process. There's tons of oversight.
Zero accountability.
There's tons of accountability. All we do is talk about it, man. I'm breaking it down. So if you're watching this and you believe these lies, I want you to not believe them. I want you to see this for what it is. We have to start talking about this. We have to be honest about a guy named Gavin Newsom who thinks he's the governor of every state, apparently. I mean, there's, a lot of other states here. We don't hear a peep out of those governors. But apparently this guy is now the Jesus of this ICE apocalypse. He's the leader of the party. He's the guy that wants to be president so bad, he'll do whatever it takes. Well, here we have to listen to what he's saying because everything is calculated. Everything with Gavin Newsom is done to give him one step closer to the absolute power. Could you imagine this guy with nuclear weapons?
Happening in the United States of America today. People ask me.
That sounds like a Joe Biden thing. Happening in the United States of America. Even his cadence is purposeful. He's not talking like this normally. He's doing this rushed cadence, smashing his words together, doing the hands, because it's the thing that people respond to when liberals do it.
Well, is authoritarianism you're being...
Authoritarianism. That is not true. That is not true. This is a republic and a democracy. I'm walking around, living a free life, going to Starbucks, buying a burger, being on the internet, working my job, taking care of my family. There's no authoritarianism in our country. You can walk around and you can do your thing if you're not causing trouble to people. And if you're not illegally here, you should be cool. But I'm sorry, he doesn't believe in borders. So that's not a hill that he should die on, because most of the country does. And that's why Biden and Harris lost the last election. I consider them both losing the last election because they both ran. Trump beat two more than one.
In hyperbolic. We're being
Bullshit, we're being hyperbolic. Nobody said you are. You know you are. But you're the one that has to say that in your speech so that you can try to dissuade people from believing the truth, that you're just full of shit.
Hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here,
in
this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had.
Hold on. That always works out when you get race involved, right? Doesn't that always make things better? It's just disgusting. Where's the unity? There's no unity. How do you have unity with somebody like this that wants violence, that loves ICE? That loves Antifa, that likes people that give ICE trouble? He encourages violence and obstruction against ICE. He signed a law that allows ICE to be vulnerable to harm. And what happened? They were vulnerable to harm. Now in a different state, not his state, but God knows what could happen in his state.
The privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require you have simple identification.
What is this? Require you have simple. He does half sentences, and he does like things that send you a message, but he's saying something different. What is this and this? So I'm done listening to him. Honestly, he makes me sick. He really does, man. He makes me sick. So Gavin Newsom is a complete structured creature. Everything is scripted, but he's saying everything you would say to get people hurt, to create chaos. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand how a guy who says he's a responsible governor, says he's an intelligent governor, is so excited about making federal agents vulnerable to harm. He says, I'm so proud of being the first to pass a bill, the blah, 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 that no one's going to obey. That doesn't matter. That's super radical. That means they can't put masks on and then make sure they're identified. They're totally identified. Everywhere they go, they wear ICE jackets. I mean, their cars aren't identified, but I mean, what does he want? Does he want them to put ICE on their car? In most cases, there is immigration enforcement on the cars. I mean, this thing is just a total waste of time. It's a total waste of time when there's bigger things going on in the country than this. The odds of you being deported by ICE are high if you are an illegal alien that's committed a crime. If you're an illegal alien that hasn't committed a crime, your percentage is a little higher, okay? But you could also self-deport. Did you know you could report to the government that you are deporting, and they'll give you time, and they won't raid you, and they won't steal you from your family? Like Newsom is saying, they won't destroy your life. They will allow you to self-deport. And in some cases, they'll pay for it. In most cases, our government will. There are ways to do this right. But I don't understand the lawlessness that spews out of his mouth. Like the stuff that he says is stuff that a lawless outlaw radical would say at a rally for Antifa. He talks like Antifa, but because he's dressed up like the devil, all slick, with his horns behind his head so you can't see him, and he has this slick little look, and he's Newsom the politician who likes to fight Trump, we're okay with listening to the words coming out of his mouth that are toxic and destructive. I'm on a mission to essentially, me personally, to just speak the truth. And the truth is, this kind of rhetoric is so toxic and destructive. Look, 3 illegal aliens this morning were injured seriously. One was murdered by a guy who was activated by this kind of rhetoric. And am I laying this at Gavin's feet? You bet I fucking am. Him, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, everybody else, and all these other radical influencers that get out there and say things like blood in the streets, conservatives need to be killed, they need to be executed, the people celebrating Charlie Kirk, all that stuff is real shit. All that stuff is right in front of our faces. All that stuff is honestly happening. So what are we to do as conservatives? Well, first, we have to wake up to the fact that Gavin Newsom is one of the most destructive politicians California has ever had. Even his mentor, Jerry Brown, has said that there's too much anarchy in California government. And Jerry Brown is one of the biggest left-wing loons who's ever had political office. Look him up. He was Gavin's mentor to a point, but he's even said he's now on some ranch with 5,000 acres in California doing his thing and he's, retiring. They interviewed him recently. He even said the legislature's out of control. Everything's going way too left, and we need to moderate. In fact, did you know the moderate position used to be the left position? It's so crazy. So the left wing has gone so radical, they forced normal conversation out. They have forced measured, intelligent conversation out of the marketplace, and now people are afraid to speak their minds. In fact, it used to be if you were a Republican or conservative, you got the heat, and that's reasonable. Now, if you're moderate or independent, you get the heat. You get it just even worse because you haven't picked a liberal side. Everyone that gets hurt in this left-wing violence are sacrifices to the god of liberalism, and that's what these guys are doing. They worship the god of death. They worship the god of liberalism is now this basically whatever you want it to be. That's what liberalism is. I'm actually confused. What is it? Right? Is it trans surgeries for children? Is that left? Or is it Antifa shooting at people in the streets, destroying a Starbucks, turning over cars, setting things on fire to stop people from going into a business that they don't support? Is that left wing? I don't know. Is left wing killing Charlie Kirk on a college campus? I mean, if that's not left wing, what is that? What is that? It's not moderate. It's not conservative. So everything to me is easy freaking math. This is not a cocktail, by the way. Guys, thanks for watching. The Rumble crowd, you guys are my dogs. Thank you. My name is Jason J. Daniel. I'm a podcaster where I talk about sports, politics, all things Americana. I'm a conservative Republican. I just became a Republican. I was an independent, moderate, more libertarian. I'm very socially liberal, but I've woken up to the fact that you can't be in the middle of the road. So if you're in the middle of the road, I encourage you to register as a Republican, and we need to turn California upside down. We need to change California and get it back. Hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a Republican. He won the office of governor. And Gray Davis was a moderate Democrat, he was a centrist before Schwarzenegger. Then, Reagan was a conservative. So this state used to be conservative. I'm in California, of course. Guys, please subscribe. Appreciate that. If you haven't, punch that old subscribe button. Appreciate it. I'm growing my subscriptions on Rumble. Almost 1,000 on YouTube. Cool. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And we have thousands on X. So I'm simulcasting on X, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. So thanks. Thank you. The little commercial right there. So the last thing I'm going to show you is, let's see here. What else? Oh, I'm going to show you me. I know, right? I'm going to show you something I said last night on my podcast, which was almost prophetic to what happened this morning. Unfortunately, nobody wants to be right about violence, but I was really concerned by the rhetoric that Gavin Newsom was spewing last night. I'm going to play you a clip from my show last night, and it's me watching Gavin. It's not the same clip that we just watched. This was about his hatred for Trump and, basically stirring up the hate machine and saying, we need to basically we need to fight Trump. The words fight, which is concerning. So I'm going to jump to that right now. We're going to, 1 second here. Okay, boom. Man, I wish I had a producer to do all this stuff for me. Okay, cool. So now, all right. So here's my show last night. You can't, it's interesting. You can't see, let me play me. Here we go. I'm so lost. Okay. I'm going to play me. Here you go.
California's trying to assert itself on health policy.
All of this is just freestyle now off the script. See how he's looking at Colbert for help.
Same.
See, he's closing his eyes. Give me a scene. Give me a cue, that's Colbert. Because Colbert's going to let him go until the script's done, and then Colbert dumps him.
We created this West Coast collaborative. We're not
back to the script.
not going to listen to this guy.
Okay, so you are seeing you're seeing me, but I'm not talking because this is the exact same clip as like the same setup. So this little box that you see me in is covering up me from last night, but you'll hear my voice. Okay, go ahead. the point.
We're not going to listen to him trying to pronounce acetaminophen, or we're not going to sit there, listen to all that. No one
that's so
trusts the
funny.
guy. This guy is flooding the zone.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I'm very concerned with Gavin Newsom and his rhetoric. I've always been concerned, but I'm real concerned now. I'm very concerned that this whole fight, this whole son of a bitch, we're doing this, we're now talking about Paris. Okay, so you get my point. After watching his rhetoric last night, I was super concerned. And I said it. And sure enough, somebody kills an innocent person trying to kill an ICE agent who is innocent. If he kills an ICE agent, they're innocent. So they're trying to kill innocent people. And it wasn't this guy had a knife, this guy had a handgun, this guy, was just indiscriminately attacking. He got a sniper rifle to murder people. And he clearly thought he was shooting ICE agents. And who knows? It could be that one of their procedures for safety could be, I don't know this for a fact, so I'm just saying, it could be that ICE agents will put detainees in ICE jackets or put them in gear that would make it confusing for you, because they have to protect themselves. And we all know there's violence in the streets, not at this level until today, but we all know ICE has to protect themselves, and they're dealing with a lot of this, and especially in California. Now, this happened in Dallas, but just saying. So there are politicians that are doing everything they can to expose ICE to make them vulnerable to attacks. So I could see that maybe they were putting gear on them to just as a natural procedure to create confusion for somebody that might want to create some kind of violence. And unfortunately, this person killed these folks thinking they were ICE agents, maybe. But either way, they just tried to kill humans. And these are innocent people. They're illegal, assuming they're illegal, you never know, but in most cases they are. And that's really tragic. It's sad. That's not anything anybody wants. And that's my issue, is now the loons are killing the people they say they champion. And that is the reality. They champion no one but themselves. We know how corrupt they are. We know how corrupt Gavin Newsom is. So for him to get up and say he's fighting Trump for the people is a joke. It's like laughable. That's how silly it is. He's never been for anybody but Gavin Newsom. We know this. He's never been for the people. Now he's wanting to be more for the illegal aliens than he is for his own citizens in California, which is a huge problem. That's a whole nother story and a whole nother show. But it is very important that we as conservatives stand up and fight this stuff with common sense, with peace, love, and understanding. And also converting the people that are exhausted by Gavin Newsom. And it's going to be a really sweet victory in November when Gavin Newsom loses his Proposition 50, because he has completely put all of his marbles in that. And why? Because he knows he's finished once he's out of office, unless he has an opportunity to run for president. No one is going to vote for him anywhere else except maybe LA or San Francisco. That's small potatoes. He was a San Francisco mayor. He could always do it again. There's nothing against that. But he was San Francisco mayor before. He doesn't want to be the mayor of LA. He had small potatoes for him. He ran around with Biden. He probably made some decisions for Biden with the auto pen. God knows. Gavin Newsom thinks he is already the president. He thinks he's your president if you're a Democrat. Gavin Newsom thinks he's the president of everybody. He's honestly the president of nothing, which is interesting, right? He's done nothing presidential. He's not even close to the office, not even sniffing it. He's not even in a primary, but he's doing his best to try to leverage all of this publicity and all of the hatred that's being stirred up. He's trying to leverage it simply so he can move on to the next level. And it's a disgrace. He's a disgrace. But, if you're watching this, you probably agree. If you don't agree, It's cool. I'm starting to really get the trolls attacking me, which is interesting. So not everybody that watches this agrees with me, and I can appreciate that. But look, conservatives are peaceful. We're peaceful. We're nonviolent. We are not the ones that pick up arms and use it against our political opponents. We pick up Bibles. We will hold your hand and help you. We will give you money and buy you food. Conservatives are the compassionate ones, guys. It's not the left wing. It's not. It's not. Conservatives are the compassionate ones. And with the Charlie Kirk murder, we saw no violence in the streets, no retaliation. What we saw was love, peace, love, and a lot of Jesus, which made a lot of liberals uncomfortable, which I'm good with. If that makes them uncomfortable, cool. Um, so anyway, that's the show for tonight. I just wanted to give you my opinion on the ICE murders or murder, which was so unfortunate. We do know, Trump did a tweet saying that he's going all out now on. He's going to sign an executive order to turn Antifa upside down, which is going to be a lot of fun. And Kristi Noem said that they're doubling security at the ICE facilities, and they're sending the National Guard to the ICE facilities. Amen. Look, until the liberals understand that peace is the answer, they're always going to keep losing. So, take heart in that. Let not your heart be troubled. If you're a conservative, it is a concerning time, but it's not the end of the line. This is just the beginning. This is a journey we're on as conservatives. Now, I just became a Republican, but I've always been a conservative, so I can say that. This is a journey that we're on as conservatives. We need to band together, and we need to be honest. The more of us that are honest about how we feel about this violence, the more we're going to be able to combat it with the power of free speech, the power of our words. Look, Charlie Kirk was killed for his words. Jimmy Kimmel was suspended for his words, and Gavin Newsom is getting people hurt because of his words. Words work. Words count. In this day and age, words are extremely powerful. And apparently words are now kind of forever on the internet. So it is a thing. So thanks for watching, guys. And, there should be a call of action. I think the call of action should be, communicate with each other and look at healthy social media. Take a break from this stuff. Try not to be that concerned, but, be vigilant, I would really be concerned if you're out in an area that might be kind of heavily populated with radical left. Just keep your head on a swivel. Don't try to be so brave, because the cowards will get together and they'll hurt you in groups. We're seeing it all over the internet. We're seeing guys go to these college campuses and trying to pick up for Charlie Kirk, and they're getting attacked and mobbed and screamed at and nasty, vicious vandalism. The vicious demons in these universities and in these young people, it's just out there. Like the murder of Charlie Kirk has enraged them and has given them a license to continue the nasty violence. And that's what I predicted. I didn't think it would lessen. I knew this was going to be like a clarion call for these lunatics to just come out of the woodwork like domestic sleeper terrorists and start creating terror. And deep down, they are terrorists. The guy that killed Charlie Kirk is a terrorist, right? He's a trans paramilitary guy, right? He was in that group. This guy apparently today, his sister has a trans boyfriend or something. I'm lost, but there is a trans connection. I mentioned at the top of the show. We're back to that. So when you look at all of the pieces of when you're trying to figure out who these shooters are and why they're doing what they're doing, you know why they're doing what they're doing. That is solved. We know that. All we got to do is take a look at their social media, look at their connections, and look at how they're doing things. They're taking the same playbook and doing it almost moment by moment, almost verbatim on how you would commit domestic terrorism with a sniper perch and a sniper rifle. And obviously, Antifa and domestic terrorists attack the government, attack people that matter to the administration, like Charlie Kirk. So it's a concern, man. So if you're somebody that has a podcast or a public speaker, or you have an audience at all, I would just say take precautions. Take precautions. I would not, some of you, and I'll let you go, but some of you might love to engage, right, with with your liberal friends, right? Or send people Instagram messages because it's tempting, it's frustrating. I've had to unfollow a number of people, not necessarily friends of mine, but people that I supported as influencers and saw them post really terrible stuff, and I'm like, you're too broken for me to have that in my mind. I can't do that. That's evil shit. I have to unfollow you. It's cool. We're good. But some of you like to DM and I would really just be careful on that stuff because you will send a DM because you support Trump to a loon and you'll forget about it that night. Okay, cool. You go to sleep. Those loons keep that stuff and they plot against you. They will call your bosses. They will go after your family and friends. I've had it happen to me. I've had people try to dox me because of my opinions. And I just got a nasty troll today that tried to, do a thing because he didn't like my show last night. Right? So it is what it is. So one, just be careful. Take care of yourself. It's not worth it. The mental anguish of having somebody bully you on the internet or maybe like lose a friend over it, it's not worth it. Try to not do that. I actually have some really good friends that are still on Instagram with me, and they are posting very nasty stuff, real evil stuff. Now, it's not Charlie Kirk level because I don't tolerate that, but it's nasty stuff against the administration, of course. And, if you believe in ISIS mission, you're a racist, that kind of stuff. But look, I love those people. Two of them, I love them. Like I'm not in love with them, but I love them because I've known them for 10 plus years and they're really good friends. And I've been through a lot with them and I love those people. So I'm not going to unfollow them or send them any negative messages because I want love to speak. Love should speak. Conservatives should give love. They should give forgiveness when reasonable. We should stand up, but we should also find a way to love those lunatics that haven't done violence. There are people you can love that you've been connected to without ostracizing them because that's what they would do to you. Don't do that to them. In fact, I also say this. If you are so sensitive to somebody criticizing the administration that you want to unfollow them, that's kind of not necessary because your ideas in the marketplace should win versus liberal ideas. Stand on those principles. You don't have to unfriend them. You can post what you want to post and just keep it civil, but that's open dialogue. That's what we need to do. Open dialogue, open discussion as a community, and we should not be afraid to read what they're posting. Again, it can't be violent. That's the line. We shouldn't be afraid to read what they're posting and digest it and listen to them because liberals and Democrats that are not radical, they have strong opinions. Listen to them. If you're not afraid of your opinions changing, you can listen to their opinions. And then in that peace and understanding, they should hear you back. And that's how we do democracy. We talk to each other, man. And the only way to talk to a liberal is to listen to them first. That's easy math, right? If somebody says, Jason, you support ICE, I think that ICE is racist. That doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't need to cow down or send a nasty DM, fuck you. I'm open-minded to go, okay, well, tell me where you think ICE is going wrong. I wouldn't waste my time with that conversation because it kind of goes nowhere. But I'm just saying, if you have somebody you love in your life or a relative, you don't need to be sensitive about being a Trump supporter or being a conservative Republican. Let's get past that. The more sensitive you are, the more they're going to bully you and the more you're going to let your light not shine. Let your light shine. Wear your hat if you got one. Post your positive memes. But, it also, your opinion should be grounded in patriotism too. You should have opinions that line up with the Constitution and that support free speech, especially for the people you don't agree with. That's how Charlie Kirk died. We got into a situation where the loons decided we don't want to do free speech anymore. We don't want to hear you anymore. We're going to shut you up and kill you because you're too smart, you're too good, you're too on top of it, you're too accurate. That's what they decided to do. And they wanted some sort of, I guess, civil war with free speech, which is where we're at, and on Christianity. But we don't have to give them that bait. We don't have to give in. We can lean into our conservative principles and be confident that we're right. And if we are confident that we're right, you can take the time to dialogue and learn from a Democrat. That's not a loon. There's a difference. Don't talk to a loon that says anything that Charlie Kirk was. Look, if Charlie Kirk's a bigot, he deserved it. You can't help those people. They're a lost cause. And look, if you're sitting here listening to me going, well, fuck that guy because I hate all these damn liberals and they killed Charlie Kirk and dead. Cool. They brought that on themselves, man. I don't blame you for being angry. I don't blame you for not wanting to forgive. I don't blame you at all. Now, you can't get violent. That's the line. Don't cross that line. If you have that temptation, talk to a therapist. I don't have that temptation, by the way. I'm upset. I'm mad as hell over it. I get mad I wake up thinking about Charlie Kirk. I'm mad. But I'm putting that energy into more podcasts, more free speech, more internet talk, more truth. That's where I'm putting, I'm bringing people on my podcast that have really great opinions that further the cause. That's where I'm putting my energy into. That's not my temptation. Like, I don't go there. But if you're that upset, see a therapist, talk to your pastor, get that out of you, because that's what they want. They want you to go there. They want you to do something nasty and violent if that's your tendency. Hopefully it's not, but that's their ultimate dream. So don't buy into that, or to get into an argument at work and you're just going to hurt yourself. Trust me, it's a strategy. They enrage you, then they bait you, and you hurt yourself. Just be above it. Don't, like Gavin Newsom, the stuff he does, like we watched, he baits you, he rages you, and then he uses it against you. Don't let that happen. Stay strong. Okay, I love you guys. Look at that. I just said the love word. You guys are good. And I'm bad at love, so I love you guys. My name is Jason J. Daniel. I love you guys on Rumble, man. Thanks for watching. It's a lot of fun. I got in a couple of days, I got a really cool interview. It's going to be my 200th show. It's going to be cool. So check me out. Follow. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe. I'm on X, on the old X machine. So if you're watching on X, I really appreciate you. Wow, we've got a lot of people watching. Thanks, guys. You're the dopest. I really appreciate you liking my post and reposting it would be cool. You don't have to repost it on your timeline if you don't want conservative stuff on it, but you can like it. You can follow me. That would be cool. And also on Rumble, thanks guys for following me. My Rumble views are just going through the roof. You guys are amazing. You give me energy. I appreciate that. Also YouTube, I have almost 1,000 subscribers. If you want to do me a favor and subscribe on Rumble and YouTube and X, that would be so cool. So thank you. Also on TikTok, Real Jason J. Daniel. I do sports, man. I do a lot of sports. We love college football and football. I do a lot of sports on TikTok. 8,000, almost 9,000 on TikTok. Real Jason J. Daniel. And I'm everywhere. IG, Snap, Rumble, blah, blah, blah. Follow me. God bless you guys. Have a great day. And I may not be on tomorrow. Just depends on if there's breaking news. But again, it's a really tough time, but we have to pull together and send somebody a happy DM. Reach out. Today, I didn't get a chance to say, I have a liberal friend who's very radical, and I read something that person posted that was really disturbing. It wasn't at the violence to Charlie Kirk level, but I just reached out and did a little heart, and it was like, hey, how are you doing? I reached out to talk about them, not about politics. Love people. That's what it's about, man. It's not about the politics. It's about the people. Without the people, you don't got politics. Without the people, you don't got anything. Without people, you're just lost. So God bless you. Via con Dios. Go with God. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. It means a lot. And have a great night. Bye.